Oh, I just want to puke thinking about it. Oh, bah.
Yeah, that is pretty gross.
Okay.
We're in Clearwater tonight. I'm Allison Morrow.
Hi, I'm Allison Morrow.
I'm Allison Morrow.
And I've gone to a lot of places.
On St. Pete Beach, Allison Morrow.
And now with my former Force Recon Marine husband, I'm going off-grid-ish.
So we are just about at the end of removing the belly pan, but to do that we have to take the toilet out, and we're newcomers to the Airstream renovation, RV renovation process, so we looked up videos on removing toilets, and specifically the Tetford toilet that we have. We really didn't find a whole lot out there, so this is our video as we figure out how to get this thing out of here. This is how to get the Tetford toilet out of your Airstream or your RV that has it in there. Go, Lynn. Take it away.
Well, we're not necessarily intent on salvaging this toilet. At the same time, I don't want to just try to rip this thing out because it's attached to the flange, and usually when you start ripping things out of places, you take a chance of damaging things that you don't want to damage. So ideally, I would like to not destroy this toilet. The other reason being is just salvaging any parts that we can salvage. It's better, I think, later on to make a conscious decision that I'm gonna throw something away in the scrap heap versus, well, I have to throw it away because I broke it. You know, we have talked about at length that we wanted to have a composting toilet, but I'm still gonna set this Airstream up so that it can use a regular toilet just in case either A, we change our minds and decide to go with a regular toilet in the Airstream, or B, if we ever do decide to sell the Airstream and maybe the people who buy it aren't entirely interested in having a composting toilet, then they have that option, and it wouldn't limit us on being able to sell this thing should we need to do that. So here we are. Now I know typically toilets are attached one of three ways. 2-bolt system, 4-bolt system, and then an off-angle 2-bolt system. Looking into this toilet, and it will be hard to show it on the camera, but hopefully once I get this cover off, you'll be able to see it. It looks like this is a 2-bolt toilet, and there's a bolt over here on this side and a bolt over here on this side. So what I'm going to try to do is, it looks like this is a cover that pops off. I'm going to try to pop this cover off without messing it up too bad. Looks like there's like little like detent kind of flange thing there, so I think in order to do that I'm gonna have to push this foot pedal down and pull it out like that, and there we go. That was a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be, but here you can see that's the bolt, and this one is, it appears to be a 2-bolt toilet, one on either side of it. For those of you like Allie who have a hard time figuring out what's the difference between a wrench, pliers, so on and so forth, quick thing. This right here is known as a crescent wrench, also known as an adjustable wrench. Reason being is you can move this little guy right here, and it opens up or closes the distance on the part of the wrench. Unlike an open-ended wrench, like if you were to get a set of box end wrenches or open-ended wrenches, they're sized, right? Then you have a socket wrench, usually ratcheting, but then another common tool, these are pliers, but these are very specific pliers. These are called channel locks. So right there you can see they have different channels, and you can adjust it so that, because if you're on something bigger, say for example, you don't want to have your hands like this spread wide apart, so you adjust it so that it can still get around the object you're tightening on while still having a comfortable grip on the pliers. So for this toilet, because I don't have a set of wrenches, hint hint, Allie, my birthday's coming up, I'm going to use this crescent wrench or this adjustable wrench to be able to take the nuts off these bolts for this toilet. So alright, so I'm fitting the wrench to the nut, and righty tighty, lefty loosey. This is where a set of ratcheting closed end wrenches, Allie, hint hint, would be ideal. But now I'm just unscrewing that. Alright, that is one. You ready?
Here we go. Woo!
And that's it.
Done. Did you just make a number 1 or a number 2?
I don't even know how to answer that. Excuse
And that's
me.
the base.
This is what our dog does while we're working on the Airstream. She's a huge help. Can't you see? See how she's working on the Airstream in her dreams?
I'm not dreaming anymore.
Oh. She knew we were talking about her.
I can't be 100% sure, but there may be some residue in there.
It is a toilet, so it is highly likely that there are biocontaminants like fecal material in
Poop!
or otherwise known as poop.
Poop.
Yes.
As a recon Marine, sometimes when we would go on mission, they had a saying: you pack your in, you pack your out. So sometimes we'd have to do that. It will also give away your position, so we would have to sometimes back up our stuff.
Who knew that Iraq and Afghanistan were going to prepare you for this very moment of removing an Airstream toilet?
There were these two screws, wood screws, that held this base down on the floor, and so I removed them so I can remove this whole thing, and then boom, there you go. So the next thing will be to remove these like that, and then we'll remove this flange, and then we should be able to take the rest of this wood up.
There is definitely crap in there. Like 100% there's crap in there.
Just a little bit. A little bit of residue. It's not full though. It's definitely not full.
Oh, I just want to puke thinking about it. Oh, bah. If it's my poop, I don't care about it. If it's someone else's poop, like, I don't want anything to do with it. And proctology exam. Lynn, getting ready to go in for one.
I think you're being a little ridiculous, is what I think. Yeah, I turned it counterclockwise to get it off. So yeah, here we go. There's that. This guy. This stuff. So now that we have the floor taken up, or at least majority of it, we still got these couple of pieces left, but we have pretty much full access to all the tanks now. So our next step, there are these little support bars here. I'm gonna drill the rivets out on them, and we should be able to remove these tanks once we get them disconnected.
Do you think that poop is making you have to sneeze?
No, I think everything else that's in this trailer is making me have to sneeze. I said, yeah, that is pretty gross.
Okay.
I didn't say it wasn't gross. I never said that. There's probably about a 1/4 inch or so of feces left on the bottom. you know, a lot of factors in there, like how you flush it out and all kinds of stuff like that. It never fully flushes out.
All right,
We're gonna see if Allie got all the rivets out by kicking the belly pan down from the top.
here we go. So I don't want to assume that anybody watching this channel necessarily knows about Airstreams or their parts. I certainly am learning as we go along. So the terminology for the next section of the video is gray water and black water tanks.
It's just an old crapper tank, people.
Gray water is the water that comes through the drain from like your sink or your shower. The black water is what comes from the toilet. Both of our tanks have stuff in them. So this is where things are going to get exciting.
There's 2 pans for the tanks, the various tanks that you will see on an Airstream. Now for us, specifically, because I think some only have 1 pan, others have 2, ours has 2. 1 strictly for the fresh water, which is this one right here, and then 1 for black and gray water. I think there may have been a point in time back in the day with RVing where they would put the gray water and black water all together. And then I think after a certain point in time, they actually started segregating the 2. Not 100% sure about that. I should probably do my research, but for us, you have a fresh water, a gray water, and a black water. Now they have a combiner where the gray water and or black water comes out the same tube. But the thing that was tricky for us was we had to make sure, first of all, that all of our tanks were clear. Luckily, there wasn't that much stuff in the black water tank, as you could see previously in our other video.
It's the same video.
Same video? Okay, disregard.
Earlier in the video.
Earlier in the video, we noticed that our black water did not have a whole bunch of black stuff in it. Like, there's still a little film on the bottom. The freshwater tank was full of water. I had to drain that out. And there's still a little bit left in it, but I got out all of it that I could get out. The gray water had a little bit of gray water in it, so we went and drained that appropriately as well. So now what I've been able to do is I have the valve closed. I'm going to try to cut this on the other side of the valve, so if there is anything left, it's not going to come out right here. We have to get the gray water and the black water tanks out to get the pan out first, because I can't reach the bolts for the freshwater pan. I was able to reach the bolts on this side, but I was not able to reach the bolts on this side because it's just so low. Of course, before you take out your tanks, with draining them, you need to drain them appropriately, and that's going to depend on where you're at, where you live, where you can find an appropriate receptacle to drain those fluids into. So just make sure you do your due diligence on that to figure that out. Just done is I have cut the pipe, the drain pipe on the other side of the valve, and there's a little T-handle that connects to the valve that operates the valve, and I cut that off because I didn't want it to catch me up when I try to lift this tank out. So the tank should be free and clear at this point in time. One tank out. These are all the cables to the sending unit. That there's a gauge that you would have in a display. In the case of this Airstream, it used to be on the range vent above the stove, and it would tell you like what level your tanks were at, what level your batteries were at, things like that. So I'm just cutting those wires so that especially when I take this other tank out, I'm able to lift it out without it catching on me, because this one I'm going to have to cut the wires too. So what do you think, honey?
Time to take out the poop tank.
Yeah, the fun one. Wait, that makes me rethink my childhood growing up, because that's what my mom used to tell people when they'd ask about me or my sister. Which one's JR? Oh, he's the fun one. It brings a different connotation to it. I'm gonna have to call her today.
Lynn's mom has told me that she's not sure which makes her happier, that Lynn and I got married or that Lynn is now mine to deal with. He's now my problem. And my solution. Right, baby?
One might ask, hey Lynn, why are you cutting a pipe where there's a perfectly good bolt right there where you can loosen it and maybe take it off? I don't want to take a chance in having an issue getting this thing off, that connection. I just want to cut it nice and clean so I can lift it straight out. Plus, whatever little bit of residue is in there, I don't want to get it on me, just in case there is a little that's lingering around, so I'm trying to avoid that. This is the point in time where I would like to remind Allison, as she's editing this video, she should cut to the part in Joe Dirt, The Adventures of Joe Dirt.
Chicken wings, stop it!
Where he's like, I got the poop on me.
I got the poo on me.
I think this would be a great clip to add. If you were watching, there's a little bit of fluid that came out. That is just why. So we got it out with minimal fluid being spilled. Do not go in there. Woo! Stay away from the pate. That would be another good one. Oh, potty humor. That's gonna be great. We gotta add that in to the video. Like,
copyright issues.
Yeah, you just do a little quick clip of it. Excuse me, do you have any banaka? Asshole mio, asshole me. You're not using any of this, honey. I don't know why you're still filming.
Oh, yes, I am.
No, you're not. Well, we finished. I just threw this down so I could stand on it, but here is, you're standing on the floor. There we go. Here's what it looks like with the tanks in there. So just to give everybody a little bit of mental recall, this is where the freshwater tank goes. This is where the gray water tank was, and this is where the black water tank was. So now, hopefully you guys got a little something out of seeing us take these tanks out. It was definitely difficult to do, but, well, I don't think I should say difficult. It was more just tedious. But if you actually take your time, that's the thing we've kind of begun to realize about all this. If you take your time, look at how it looks like it was put together, it makes it a little easier for taking some of this stuff apart. And it's definitely giving me insight to, well, what if I were to have to maintenance this again? Is there anything I would do differently as far as putting it all together? So all kind of good things to get out of it. So till next time, please do us a favor, hit the little like button on here and subscribe as well so you can get the notification. There's a lot more work to come, but we're about at the point where we're seeing the changeover to where we're going to start putting stuff together or fixing things. So subscribe if you want to see some more. Thank you. Bye.